Weeks or months, that's the timeline Saudi Aramco is eyeing before the majority of oil supply from its Abqaiq plant is restored after it was attacked on the weekend. Aramco believes less than half of the plant's capacity can be resumed quickly. It has informed at least 6 refiners in Asia that it will supply full allocated volumes in October. The disruption could force Aramco to delay its highly anticipated listing. The threat of future attacks is proving a risk factor for its revenue and profits. The energy giant has been slated to go public either later this year or early next year in a 2-part IPO. Market watchers are now keeping a close eye to see how quickly Saudi Arabia can recover. Analysts say it has sufficient reserves to ensure its customers don't experience shortages if the disruption is relatively short-lived. Saudi Arabia's stockpiles have fallen in recent years. It's got in storage about 188 million barrels of crude. Reports say oil refiners in Japan are gathering information on Saudi supplies. Fuji Oil says it does not expect any major problem with its crude procurement, as it has access to alternative supplies. Remember, Japan is the world's 4th biggest importer of crude oil. Its economic minister said Japan will consider the coordinated release of oil reserves and other measures to ensure sufficient supplies. After the attack happened, Brent crude soared 14%, its biggest percentage gain on record. The US president has played down the recent spike in prices.
Well, they haven't risen very much, and we have these strategic oil reserves, which are massive, and we can release a little bit of that. And other countries, including Bahrain, but other countries can be a little bit more generous with the oil, and you'd bring it right down. So, no, that's not a problem. It went up $5, and that is not a problem.
Here in Asia, oil-related stocks rose yesterday, given the prospect of higher fuel prices. But it's a different story today. State-owned China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, or Sinopec, lost some grounds. Beijing-based oil and gas firm PetroChina also closed weaker, while China's national offshore producer CNOOC managed to stay just slightly above the water in Hong Kong market. Oil remains in focus after prices surged in the previous session. Brent crude is now at $68. Light crude is at $62.